morning. My name is Coach Clemens. I'm head football coach for Liberty North Eagles. The Eagles had their first district playoff game last Thursday night versus St Joe Benton. Came away with a 49-14 win. Kids played well. Our player of the game for offense was the entire offensive line. Our defensive player of the game was Keandre Pugh. Our special teams player of the game was Raul Garcia. So we'll take questions.
Can you just recap some of the good and the bad in your game?
Well, on the good side, we were physically dominant over St. Joe Benton. On the bad side, you know, I think that defensively, they gave us some problems with some scheme and some and just some quick athleticism out of one of their running backs, number 28. He was a good back. So there early in the game, we were allowing more yards than we had anticipated giving up. But you have to give them credit. It was a scheme and a good player, good couple players.
There have been a lot of injured starters returning to the field this week. How will that affect the game tomorrow?
Well, we'll see. You know, coming back just one day ago doesn't guarantee that they're going to be ready to go for tomorrow night, and so we're going to play it by ear and continue to practice with them and make sure that they're okay.
Benton was 0-9, but they scored first. Did that worry you at all?
Well, it always worries you when your opponents score, whether they score first or second. You know, if it's a close game. I think that we understood that we had the better football team and that it was just a matter of time. But yeah, it worried us because it was a result. A big result of it was us being out of position on defense as opposed to them knocking us off the ball. And so when you're out of position, you get concerned that you're not going to be able to get that fixed. But we could. It was easy to see from the sideline, you know, that it was a mismatch and that it was just a matter of time before the score became what it was.
Your game on a Wednesday night, how does that change your practice?
Doesn't change our practice. Just means that we had to practice on Saturday and Sunday. Which will be the same for next week. Should we be fortunate enough to win this week?
What's going to be a tough thing facing the Smith girls?
Well, they've got a good running game. Their quarterback runs the ball well. They have a running back who runs it tough. They're pretty big up front on the offensive line, and they do a lot of things similar to the way we do them on the offensive line. Defensively, they're active and athletic. You know, I would say that the number one thing for our offense is to not turn the football over, and the number one thing for our defense is to shut down that running game.
This week on the demo side of the ball, would you say it's really been working hard to get the starting training?
Well, you know, we have a lot of kids out for football, and there's a whole lot of young men who show up every day to play on our scout team. We call it our demo squad, and they don't get talked about much because they don't get the action in the games. And they understand their role and they accept their role, and they do it with class and with poise and with some passion. You know, J.J. Jennings is always one of those guys. Caleb Pate is always one. Austin Patton is always one of those guys. You know, we have some seniors that have that role on our team, and then there's a lot of young guys who also come out. Roman Mendoza, Hunter Branson, you know, young men like that. And you know, when you start naming names, you know that you're going to leave someone out who deserves to be mentioned. You know, so I'm just going to say that, you know, the whole group does a remarkable job, in my opinion, of playing demo squad.
What's it like bringing the freshmen up with that?
Well, we've brought a handful of freshmen up to practice, and you know, they get to run our demo squad for us and be a part of it. A couple of them have jumped onto our radar screen as potential players for next year as a result. If I go back to last year when we pulled up some freshmen for the demo squad, two young men that caught our eye were Jack DeGarmo and Mitchell Miller. And now this year as sophomores, they're both starters for us. So this is a big opportunity, I think, for these freshmen to get onto our radar screen. You know, there's a lot of kids in our program, and the more you can make yourself known and seen by the coach, the better. And there's a nice looking tight end out there the last couple days.
During this time of the year, is it easier or harder for the players to like maintain focus?
I think that focus is like a roller coaster through a season. I mean, this time of year, I think that if you can keep your focus, it's definitely an advantage to you. But I think that in any season, teenagers and just the time and the grind and sometimes the monotony of it all they'll go up and down in their focus. It seems like this week we've had good practices and the focus is good. You know, I think at this time of the year also, it's more than focus. I think toughness comes into effect, and I think this is why at this time of year, you know, most of the teams that wind up in the Dome are teams that run the football because after 12, 13 weeks of football, you know, kids get a little bit tired of it, and if they're not real tough, they don't want to tackle and take on blocks. And so we feel like if we can keep our kids mentally and physically tough and keep their focus, then we got a good chance to move on.
Does playing the district game at home have any effect on you?
Playing district games at home is great. Yes, it has an effect. You know, it makes everything more convenient for one. Familiar territory. We play really well at home. I think we've looked at our scores. We've outscored our opponents about 250 to 50 at home. The best football we've played this year has been at home, and so we'd like to have as many home games as possible. We'd like to get more kids out there and understand that the district playoffs are all at home this year. We're hosting and get more kids out there in the stands and make it a little more fun for everybody.
If you took down Smithville, what would the rest of the road to state look like?
Well, if we beat Smithville, then we will have the winner of St. Joe Lafayette and Excelsior Springs, and we don't know who's going to win that. We've not seen either team, and then if we were to win that game, that would be next Monday. That game would be, and if we were to win that game, then we'd play the following Saturday against the winner from District 7 in our city, and I believe the 4 teams left in District 7 are Raytown South, Grandview, Bolivar, and Pleasant Hill. So if we were fortunate enough to win, then any 2 of those 6 schools that I named would be our next 2 opponents. I want to thank everybody for coming, and go out and watch the Eagles on Wednesday night. Thanks.